The Indianapolis 500 is more than just a race. It's a legend, a cultural icon. For those that compete, a hunger.
This is, and always will be, the greatest spectacle in racing.
I started drinking at 6 a.m. We're here now. I don't know what time it is. But I'm rolling deep. And those cars are going real fast. Real fast.
It's 500 for everybody to see. Ready right here.
The calm before the storm. It's a motto spoken in generation and in time. But as time has progressed, and the month of May rolls, even if we deal with tragedy like we're dealing with this year, the Indianapolis 500 podcast has been there for the last 2 years covering the Indianapolis 500 mile race. And not only is this year important, but tomorrow is the day, T-H-E, day, for the greatest spectacle in racing, but also a day of honor, a day to honor those of sacrifice who made the ultimate strive for our country and who make an ultimate strive on the track. No matter where you are watching this race tomorrow on May 24th, 2026, there's two things you need to remember. One, if you're going to the race, enjoy yourself and be responsible. That's maybe the most important thing I could say on this podcast. But secondly, remember those that came before you. Remember the family members, the friends, the drivers, the teammates, the history. Soak it all in tomorrow because you're not going to have another event like this or may feel like this ever again in your life. Yes, I've lived through the Indiana Hoosiers winning the national championship, the Indianapolis Colts winning a Super Bowl, but nothing will ever compare to this moment at the Indianapolis 500 tomorrow afternoon. We welcome you back to the Indianapolis 500 podcast, a Borg Order production. It'll be a very brief episode today as we are officially 24 hours away from the green flag dropping on the historic 110th running of the Indianapolis 500 mile race. Today was Legends Day, hosted by Firestone. And let me tell you, the energy at the Brickyard was absolutely electric, but also was a little somber because of the ongoing situation with Kyle Busch and the passing of Kyle Busch. That is maybe gonna plague the sports world for the rest of the weekend. It's already headline news, and now the news, the national news, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, are already diverting their attention away from the Kyle Busch passing. They don't even care to cover it as much anymore. Because guess what happened today? President Trump is talking about Iran, but who cares about that right now? Who cares? I mean, the news is arrogant for just taking 2 days out of the entire year to talk about the death of one of the most powerful drivers in the world, actually. The world. Even F1 gave homage to him. It's now a racing issue, not a national issue. And that's really sad to me. Because the news doesn't care. And they don't care about this, but we care about racing. And we care about Kyle Busch. That's why starting today and then going through tomorrow, we will be putting a cover of some sort on the podcast with the number 18 or 8 on it at the end of it. If we don't do it, we might have forgotten. But we don't want to forget about Kyle Busch and the legacy he led. Even though the electricity was electric today at Helio Castroneves, in a heartwarming moment where he met with a cancer patient that was making it to his first ever Indy 500. The little things, the little ones making it to their first 500. The big kids remembering and making new memories that their parents never made. And the elders and seniors ready to make more history. This race has a lot in store, but there is a lot of tragedy soaked into this race this year. A lot of hearts are felt. And this feels like Charlie Kirk all over again. except uh, this guy had hardly any political ties, but the way that this death has been sported around the world feels like Kyle Busch and feels like Charlie Kirk. But we feel for his family still. But we will try to talk about this less, especially going into tomorrow. We don't want to dumb you down with all this information about what's going on and all the tragedies in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're here about the greatest spectacle of racing. It's got a midsummer feel to it on race day already as temperatures were in the 60s, but it might rain tomorrow. There is a chance that the rain is going to impact the track greatly. We might have a shortened race. We might have a race rained out until Monday. Remember, your tickets are good until then as well. But the morning kicked off the massive 33 driver autograph session, followed by a little press conference where drivers received their official starters rings. And while today was all about the fans, there was a calm and tension, as we mentioned, with Kyle Busch, as some drivers were bubbling over with some massive storylines and viral moments lighting up social media today. First, we have to talk about the pole sitter, as Alex Palou is going to be securing his first ever career Indy 500 pole position last week, putting that striking yellow and red number 10 car right in front of row 1. Palou is aiming to become just the 7th driver over a century of racing to win the Indy 500 in consecutive years. But it's not going to be a walk in the park. As the internet has said, and obsessing over a wild statistic, as over 5 pole sitters have actually won the race since the year 2000. The last one to pull it off was Simon Pagenaud, as you remember, in 2019. But Palou looked loose and confident at the drivers' meeting today, but the pole sitter's curse is still heavy on everyone's minds going into Palou's run today. And it's very obvious that Palou might not win the race. I didn't even have him. I didn't even put money on him, because I know how much that means. But Helio Castroneves was another driver that's also chasing a lot today. But Palou, I'm really nervous about, especially with him being at the start. Not every year do you get a driver that wins out of the start. It could be the 8th position. It could be the 10th position. It could even be Helio Castroneves all the way in the back. This race has a lot of unpredictabilities. As at 51 years old, Castroneves is trying to break his 4-year tie with Rick Mears, Al Unser, and AJ Foyt to stand alone with the record-setting 5th Borg Warner Trophy. And if he pulls it off tomorrow, he'll be the oldest driver to ever win at the event. The crowd absolutely erupted when he walked to the stage today, especially with him being alive and well. He was more alive and well today than he was throughout the entire time, especially given how he has been pretty much lying on not being able to secure as many wins as he has. He's still lying on the opportunity to consecutively win this race. And it would be nice to see someone like him win this. It absolutely would. But as we all know, Castroneves has a great opportunity to win. He had a lot of optimism today, a lot of optimism. And I'm really proud to see him back in the field, especially during the parade. He seemed chipper. Alexander Rossi is another headline that was not included on my notes, but I'm going to get to him in a bit. But I really like Helio Castroneves. Alexander Rossi should not be racing in this race. It would be nice if Helio could take over his seat, because I don't think Alexander Rossi should be racing tomorrow. His foot is going to greatly impact them all weekend. We don't want a Tyrese Halliburton-like situation where Tyrese went down with a leg injury when he was in no way, shape, or form ready to play in Game 7. Because if you're a fan of his, you do not want to be that way, and you don't want to just think about this kind of stuff. But it's just something you have to think about, especially if you live in Indiana and you have total opposition to what had happened in Game 7 of the NBA Finals last season. But this is different. This isn't the NBA. This is racing. And hopefully the same isn't true for Alexander Rossi. And hopefully Helio Castroneves can contend in the top 10. I have him more in the top 10. He seems like a solid driver. Who knows if this for sure not going to be his last one. He might race a few more. But he's got a lot of energy, as he always does in classic Helio fashion. The Helio mania is insane. And he really is one of the best drivers, not just in this field, but of all time. But in all of IndyCar. Another storyline today, of course, with all the grim nature of the Coca-Cola 600, maybe one of the lowest seeded driver of this entire 33 car field for the Indy 500 this year is Catherine Legg. As Catherine Legg is making major waves and is attempting to become the first woman to not only drive the double duty Coca-Cola 600 and Indy 500 duo, but she's also the sixth driver to ever do this, the last one being Kyle Larson a few years ago. As she's flying straight from Indy tomorrow to race in the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte on the same day. And adding to the viral hype, her garage has been completely transformed through a massive partnership with ELF or ELF Cosmetics, the Fuel Yourself as in your and then S.E.L.F. campaign, and it has been brought to a literal beauty activation to the track. It's brought in a major beauty activation to the track, and videos online are really showing how fans are getting ready for the race day by touching up their makeup routine, just like Catherine Legg's going to do tomorrow, while dominating both the garage and the lifestyle that fans and social media feeds absolutely love. Now remember, last year was all about Alex Blow. This year was all about Catherine Legg. Catherine Legg is not going to be the driver that might win it all this year. She's the lowest. If you go on BetMGM or one of these sites, DraftKings, she is dead last on winning the Indy 500 this year. But if I had to put my money on a 33 seed in the NCAA tournament, I would put it on Catherine Legg. She might not do it. She might finish 21st at the highest. But I've been hyping her up from day one. And I don't know what it is about you, but I have this feeling in my gut that she'll finish a lot better than people act like she will. And she's going to do something unbelievable in this race. Lead. She'll be maybe the first driver since Danica Patrick to lead this race, especially with 30 or 40 laps to go. But you know she'll lose it. But if she doesn't lose it, and the impossible happens, the longest shot could win the Kentucky Derby. The longest shot could win the NHL Stanley Cup. The longest shot could win the NBA Finals. We were one win away last year. I think women in general, who knows when the next woman prodigy is going to come through and really dominate the sport in the next few years. But we'll see a bunch of women compete. We just saw Mississippi State upset Oklahoma today in the NCAA softball tournament, the Super Regionals in Norman. So what could be going strong? Megan Keller scored a goal in the Olympics to beat Canada in the final for the Women's World Cup. Or not Women's World Cup, the Women's Olympic gold medal in hockey. But Catherine Legg, don't give her up. Don't give up on her, please. Don't give up on Catherine Legg. I think Catherine Legg, she's one of the most beloved drivers in the entire field. If you want to consider drivers like Scott Dixon, Tony Kanaan in past years, or you want to consider Alex Palou or Joseph Newgarden or Pat O'Ward, people are not giving Catherine Legg enough credit where credit is due. She may wreck, she may have problems, she may have issues, but she might lead this race. And if she does, she's not going to surprise a lot of people. She's going to shock the world and do something that no one ever thought she could do. And the last driver to lead at the Indy 500 was Danica Patrick back in 2005. Literally, it's been 21 years, and we haven't had a woman lead again in the Indy 500 in a very, very long time. And she's led the 500 before. But this is a little different this year because her car is all silver and sexy, and she really is a big, 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 big supporter of not just growing the sport for women, but also growing it for an entire generation. Do not sleep on Catherine Legg. That's all I have to say. Don't sleep on her. This might be tiring for someone like her. So you gotta give her mad respect for what she's doing, for doing the daily double, the double duty. She's doing the Coke 600 and the Indy 500 on the same day. Think about that, how hard that is to do. That's hard to do. No one's even won both. No one's won both the Indy 500 and the race over at the Coke 600 in Charlotte, because doing this puts a lot of stress and a lot of heartache on your body. You may feel it afterwards. You may need a long siesta on Memorial Day. That's how bad this is. And if you do the daily double, Kyle Larson got rained out once, but then he ran the next year. It's the ultimate sign of endurance. It's the ultimate stake of endurance. And I think Catherine Legg, you just cannot sleep on her. She might not win this race. She might lead this race, and she might lead it well. But she may not win. If she did win, I'd be more shocked if she won than if she didn't win. I mean, I would not be surprised. But she is a confident woman, and she is 27th on the grid and not 33rd. So that is a big round of applause to her. I mean, that's huge. It's huge. Because, I mean, Danica started near the front and stayed near the front. But Catherine Legg's one of those underdog drivers. Her and Mick Schumacher are two drivers that if you want to look for an underdog story, you want to look for an underdog bet to put on your race list. This woman is the legend who will transform this sport. And she, again, has not raced well in other leagues, but she might race well in this race. And I would not doubt if she leads a lap or maybe 3 or 4, because that's just how she's just going to grow this stuff. And I think she'll do an incredible job no matter if she wins or loses. So please don't sleep on Catherine Legg, and please don't sleep on anyone who is down 25th or below. So keep that in mind. She'll be doing the daily double. She'll be having a hard job to do that day. Give her mad respect. That's one thing you need to learn about the Indy 500 is that I respect the drivers that race because they fight tooth and nail day in and day out to just entertain us. And that's the big thing I learned from last year's race, is that it was a lot, and I mean a lot of just driving and racing and physical and mental endurance. This is going to be the ultimate side of that, because the first driver to do it did suffer a lot of physical fatigue afterwards. So Catherine Legg's the first woman to do it. I'm very interested to see how that goes. But on the lighter side of things, of course, that's a very light side to talk about. Rob Gronkowski is taking over the world as the Grand Marshal of the Coors Light Sneak Pit again for the second year in a row, as he was spotted hanging out near Turn 3 ahead of tomorrow's massive party, EDM Drunk Fest, headlined by Zed, the DJ Zed. Gronk already went this afternoon after a video dropped of him trying to squeeze his 6'6" frame into a traditional Indy car chassis during a garage tour. And let's just say it wasn't perfect, but his laugh is currently trending online on social media. And that's the celebrities, the non-stop celebrities are really a great part of the race because they promote it extremely well. And Fox Sports is going to promote it well. They did last year. They'll do it again this year. But in terms of race coverage, don't be impressed if you're going to be watching it from home. Don't be very impressed by this. It's Fox. You watch their NASCAR coverage a lot. It's okay. But they've upped it a little bit on IndyCar. It was so much better when it was on NBC and ABC. They made it a show back growing up. They made it a show because ABC and NBC did the product so well. And I loved how they did it. I loved how you had Duffy starting the race. This is and always will be the greatest spectacle in racing. And then it just starts to snowball, and the rhythm is good. And you got Dale Jr. on turn 3, and you got Dale Jarrett on turn 1, and it just felt authentic. But Fox isn't going to impress you. Buxton's good and everything. I think Buxton's good. Will Buxton is good. But I don't think this is their best lineup crew ever with Townsend Bell as well. And James Hinchcliffe was another one, but I have a lot of confidence more this year since this is their second go around at it and not their first round. But a lot is going to be going on at both the track and outside of the racing world. And you have just got to reflect on this day, and they're going to have a hard time. Jamie Little was even having a hard time because she has to keep a straight face through it all, even though she met her husband in an interview. She said today that her husband and her had met at the Indy, had met because of Kyle Busch. But this is going to be an emotional weekend for everybody. And then once Taps plays, that's a teardripper no matter what year it is, no matter what is happening. War, famine, disease, poison, death, taxes, and Taps. Those are the saddest things that have to endure in a man's life or a female's life. And when you hear Taps and the 21 gun salute and the back home again in Indiana, although they don't release the balloons anymore, they used to release balloons in the past, the Indy 500 is always a show and a spectacle. And that's the ultimate part of the show. It sends me chills thinking about it most days. But, of course, those were some of the main storylines that we had. And basically, to look through some other storylines that we had, the grid is set for tomorrow as row 1 features Alex Palou, an incredibly resilient Alexander Rossi, who has been bouncing back, as we mentioned earlier, from a practice crash. He today, during the parade, at the Indy 500 parade, had his leg casted, and hopefully he can run. I'm hoping he can run. Like David Malakas is going to run. And I hope he's hungry after being elevated to second place in last year's pole race adjustments. And the weather forecast for tomorrow could go 3 different ways. It could be really nice, no rain, cloudy, cold. It could rain. There's a 40% chance that it could rain because there is rain expected after 3 p.m. This might be like last year's race if you went to last year's race, or it might be like 2024's race. We're not fully for sure yet. The models have been showing that there would be rain, but I mean, seeing how much it is, let me go on WeatherWise real fast and see. Thank you, Ryan Hall, y'all, for introducing me to WeatherWise. I absolutely love this site. It is so good about weather outlooks. And we're looking at Indianapolis. So this is right now 6:56 p.m. Eastern in Indiana. And then as we advance, it's not going to advance until tomorrow. Wait. It looks like there will be a system coming in the morning. So around probably 5 or 6, there's a system already to the west of us in Kansas City and Jefferson City that's looking a lot like it could cluster into some storms. There's also some storms down in Mississippi and Alabama that could come through in Indiana, but those are very likely to stay in the south. If you want weather updates, make sure you keep your phone alerted to either Ryan Hall Y'all or Max Velocity, or keep track of WTHR weather, WRTV weather, Wish TV 8 weather, or another weather channel. Get alerts as much as you can, because things could change and the weather could change and the rain could delay things, and it may cancel the race. So be aware of that. There's already, if you're listening to this in Charlotte, North Carolina, there is already a ton, and I mean a ton, of rain coming your way. I think we're going to be less likely to have the Coke 600 tomorrow than the Brickyard 400 or the Indy 500 tomorrow. It's looking like in Charlotte there is going to be a massive amounts of rain coming today and tomorrow, and it just looks like it's just not going to be a good weekend. It's already been one of the worst weekends in NASCAR history, besides the weekend that Dale Sr. passed away. Or, this guy reminds me of the weekend when Joe Paterno had all that happen. It was just horrible. Just a horrible week for everybody. And just the fact you lose one of your biggest drivers, hopefully there's no more tragedy. That's all we hope for that race. But if it were me, and I've been saying it to my family all along, it's best to just hold that race until Monday. have the 500 tomorrow and have the Coke 600 on Monday afternoon. That would be best for everybody because it would then give more people time to grieve and think collectively like, okay, we have to move on here. We have to continue going. And Richard Childress Racing has gone through so much. So much. It's not fair that that race team had to face all this. It's just sad, man. It's just sad. And that's why I've been more sad this weekend because of it. But yeah, there is going to be a lot of rain in the south. And in North Carolina, it's looking like there will be more. You're going to have more likely of a chance of seeing more rain in North Carolina than you do Indy. But things could change. But keep in mind also, this Indy 500 may be delayed to about 150 laps. And they may run the whole thing under weather caution. It's cloudy today and the weather looks nice for today. Cold. Keep a jacket with you. It's going to be cold, especially in the morning. Especially with it being 6 a.m. when the gates open. And especially when it's 8 a.m. when the gates are continuing to open. And 12 p.m. when the race starts. You don't want to be cold. So bundle up. Bundle up as much as you can. The milk is on ice. And the bricks are waiting for tomorrow. And we will be here right after the race tomorrow, covering it all for you. But back to the weather, one more thing I forgot to mention was that the weather could go three different ways. One, it could be a very heavy rain day, a very light rain day, or no rain until after 3 p.m. So the race could be over and it could finish right before it rains. But the ice is cold for the milk and the bricks are waiting. Are you ready for it, ladies and gentlemen? You got a big day tomorrow, and we sure have a big day tomorrow here on the Indianapolis 500 podcast, a Borg Warner production. We'll be right here for you. Instant reactions after the race, reactions during the race. Might not be as common, but we're not actually going to do it. We're going to do an instant reaction afterward. But then Monday we'll do some more pre-race, post-race, and really post more about the happenings of the race and all the storylines, notes, and analytics that we saw during the race. We will be live right back here tomorrow after the race to recap every single lap of the 110th running of the Indy 500. Sleep fast tonight, folks. Get a good night's rest. If you're at a hotel, enjoy a DJ. But please sleep well. Rest well. Get there early. Park early. Be there for the race, because it's happening tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. The 110th running of the Indy 500 is tomorrow. Have a great night, and let's go racing!